My fiancé's mother looked me dead in the eye across her marble kitchen island, smiled that tight smile of hers, and said, "Sweetheart, I think you should lose about 15 pounds before the wedding. You'll photograph better." I set down my champagne glass. It was December 8th, our engagement party, in her house, with 60 people milling around in the next room wearing cocktail dresses and holding shrimp skewers. "Excuse me?" I said. "Just a suggestion," Susan said, waving her hand like she was swatting away a gnat. "Bridal photos are forever, you know. You want to look your absolute best." I was a size 8. I ran 3 times a week. I was perfectly healthy. But Susan wasn't talking about health. She never was. "I'll keep that in mind," I said, and walked out of that kitchen before I said something I couldn't take back. That was the moment I should have known, but love makes you stupid, and I loved him. His name was Colin Hartwell. We met 2 years earlier at a charity gala where my marketing firm was handling the donor outreach. He was the lead architect at his family's commercial development company, tall, sharp-dressed, with the kind of confidence that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. We talked about old buildings and bad wine. He asked for my number. 3 months later, we were inseparable. Colin's family had money, the kind that came with marble countertops, vacation homes, and opinions about which country clubs were worth joining. His father, Richard, ran Hartwell and Associates. His mother, Susan, spent her days on charity boards and making sure everyone knew she went to Wellesley. His older brother, Graham, was a carbon copy of their father. Same job, same entitled smirk, same habit of talking over people. I came from a middle-class family in the suburbs. My dad was a plumber, my mom worked at the post office for 30 years. They taught me to work hard, be kind, and not take anyone's nonsense. I put myself through college, landed a good job at a respected marketing agency, and made decent money. Not Hartwell money, but enough to pay my rent, my student loans, and still have savings. Colin proposed on Christmas Eve last year. We were at Rockefeller Center, snow falling, the tree lit up like something out of a movie. He got down on one knee in front of a crowd of tourists, and I said yes before he even finished asking. The ring was beautiful, 2 carats, platinum band, probably cost more than my car. His family threw the engagement party exactly 1 year later, December 8th, at their estate in Connecticut. It was supposed to be elegant, festive, a celebration. Instead, it felt like an audition I was failing. Susan made little comments all night about my dress, interesting choice, very bold, about my job, marketing, how fun, do you work with anyone we'd know? About my family, oh, your father's a tradesman, how wonderful, we need people like that. Every sentence had a smile attached, but the subtext was clear. You're not one of us. Colin didn't notice, or he pretended not to. After the champagne and body-shaming incident in the kitchen, I found him near the fireplace talking to his brother and some guy in a navy suit. "Hey," I said, pulling him aside, "can we talk?" "Sure, babe, what's up?" "Your mom just told me I should lose 15 pounds before the wedding." He blinked. "She said that?" Word for word. He rubbed the back of his neck, the thing he did when he was uncomfortable. "She probably didn't mean it like that. You know how she is. She just wants everything to be perfect." "Colin, she called me fat at our engagement party." "She didn't call you fat," he said, lowering his voice. "She made a suggestion. Look, I'll talk to her, okay? Don't let it ruin the night." I stared at him. "You'll talk to her?" "Yeah, I'll handle it." He kissed my forehead and walked back to his brother.
I stood there in my bold dress, holding my champagne, wondering when exactly I'd become the problem that needed handling. The party ended around 11. Colin and I drove back to our apartment in the city. He was quiet the whole way, one hand on the wheel, eyes on the road. Christmas lights blurred past the windows, red and green streaks against the dark. "You okay?" he asked as we pulled into our building's garage. "I don't know," I said, honestly. He reached over and squeezed my hand. My mom's just stressed about the wedding. She'll calm down. It's not just tonight, Colin. She's been like this since we got engaged. She's protective, that's all. Of you or of the family image? He didn't answer. Upstairs, I changed into sweatpants and washed my face. Colin poured himself a scotch and sat on the couch scrolling through his phone. The apartment smelled like the pine candle I'd lit earlier, trying to make the place feel festive. It just felt hollow now. I sat down next to him. Do you ever feel like your family doesn't think I'm good enough? He looked up, frowning. What? No, why would you think that? Because your mother critiques everything I do. Your dad barely speaks to me. Graham looks at me like I'm the help. You're being paranoid. Am I? He set his phone down. Babe, they like you. They're just particular. You know how old money families are. They have standards. Standards I don't meet? That's not what I said. But it's what you meant. He sighed, the kind that said he was tired of this conversation. I don't want to fight. Can we just go to bed? I didn't push it. I went to bed. He stayed on the couch. That was the first crack. The wedding was set for June 14th, 6 months away. Susan took over the planning immediately. She hired the planner, picked the venue, a country club I'd never heard of, chose the florist, the caterer, the band. Every time I suggested something, she'd smile and say, "Let me handle it, dear. I've done this before." I hadn't. By mid-December, I felt like a guest at my own wedding. One afternoon, December 19th, I was at work when Colin texted me. Dinner at my parents' tonight, 7 p.m. Don't be late. No question mark, just an order. I texted back, I have a presentation tomorrow. Can we reschedule? Mom already made reservations. Just come. I stared at my phone, jaw tight, then shoved it in my desk drawer. I got to their house at 7:15. The driveway was full. Colin's car, Graham's Mercedes, Richard's Range Rover, and a silver Audi I didn't recognize. Inside, the house smelled like roasted lamb and rosemary. Susan was in the dining room lighting candles. Richard stood by the bar pouring wine. Graham sat at the head of the table, legs crossed, looking smug. And next to him was a woman I'd never seen before. She was stunning. Mid-30s, blonde, wearing a cream cashmere sweater and pearls. She looked like she'd stepped out of a Ralph Lauren ad. "Oh, there you are," Susan said when she saw me. "We were just about to start without you." "Sorry," I said. "Traffic." Colin appeared from the hallway and kissed my cheek. "You made it." "Who's that?" I whispered, nodding toward the blonde. "Margot, Graham's girlfriend." "Since when does Graham have a girlfriend?" "Since last month. Come on, let's sit." Dinner was excruciating. Margot was charming, articulate, and apparently worked in finance at some prestigious firm downtown. Susan loved her. She asked about her job, her family, her thoughts on the wine. She hung on every word. She barely looked at me. At one point, Margot said, "Susan, this lamb is divine. You have to give me the recipe." "Oh, it's nothing special, just something I picked up in Provence." "You're so talented," Margot gushed. I wanted to gag. Richard, halfway through his second glass of wine, turned to me. "So, how's work?" "Busy," I said. "We just landed a new client, tech startup, big campaign launching in January." He said, like I'd told him I collected stamps. "And you're still at that little agency?" "It's not little. We have 40 employees." "Boutique, then," he said, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Graham leaned back in his chair. "You ever think about going corporate? Real money's in-house. Agencies are a grind." "I like what I do," I said evenly. "For now," Susan added, "but once you have children, you'll want something with more flexibility, less hours." I set my fork down. "We're not having kids right away." "Oh, you say that now," she said, laughing lightly, "but Colin wants a family, don't you, sweetheart?"
Colin shifted in his seat. "We've talked about it." "Talked about it," Susan repeated. "Well, you're not getting any younger, dear." I was 29. Margot, bless her oblivious heart, chimed in. "I think it's so smart to focus on your career first. Build your foundation." Susan's smile tightened. "Of course, though some foundations are more stable than others." The room went still. Even the soft clink of silverware stopped. The only sound was the antique clock on the mantel ticking, each second louder than the last. I looked at Colin. He was staring at his plate. "What does that mean?" I asked. Susan blinked innocently. "Just that financial security matters, especially when starting a family." "I'm financially secure." "Of course you are, dear. I just mean Colin's used to a certain lifestyle. It's important that both partners can contribute equally." "I do contribute equally." "Well," Susan said, dabbing her mouth with her napkin, "equally is relative, isn't it?" Graham snorted into his wineglass. That was it. I pushed my chair back and stood up. "I need some air." Colin grabbed my wrist. "Babe, sit down." "No." "You're being dramatic." I pulled my hand free. "Your mother insulted me at dinner, again, and you're sitting there like a statue." "She didn't insult you," he said, voice low. "You're overreacting." I stared at him, at this man I was supposed to marry in 6 months, this man who wouldn't defend me in his own parents' house. "Enjoy your lamb," I said, and walked out. I didn't wait for him to follow. I grabbed my coat from the hallway, got in my car, and drove back to the city. My hands shook on the steering wheel the whole way. I kept replaying Susan's words. Equally is relative, like I was some charity case Colin had picked up out of pity. When I got home, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on the couch in the dark. The Christmas tree we'd decorated together blinked in the corner, red and gold lights reflecting off the ornaments. It looked cheerful, mocking. Colin came home an hour later. "That was embarrassing," he said, tossing his keys on the counter. "For who?" "For me. You walked out in the middle of dinner." "Your mother called me poor, Colin." "She did not. She implied I can't contribute financially in front of your entire family." He ran a hand through his hair. "She was just making conversation." "That wasn't conversation. That was a performance, and you let it happen." "What did you want me to do?" he snapped. "Start a fight at the dinner table?" "I wanted you to defend me." "I shouldn't have to defend you from my own mother." The words hit me like cold water. "What does that mean?" I asked quietly. He hesitated. "It means maybe if you didn't take everything so personally, we wouldn't have this problem."
"So it's my fault?" "I didn't say that." "You just did." He looked at me frustrated, tired. "I don't want to do this right now." "Then when, Colin? When do we talk about the fact that your family treats me like I'm not good enough? When do we talk about you never standing up for me? You're being unfair." "I'm being honest." He grabbed his coat. "I'm going for a walk." "Of course you are." The door slammed behind him. I sat there in the blinking Christmas lights, alone, wondering how we'd gotten here. He came back 2 hours later, didn't apologize, just went to bed. I slept on the couch. The next morning, December 20th, I woke up to a text from my best friend, Simone. "Coffee? I'm buying." I met her at our usual spot, a little cafe 3 blocks from my office. She took one look at my face and said, "What happened?" I told her everything, the engagement party, the dinner, Colin's refusal to defend me. She listened, stirring her latte, her expression darkening with every sentence. When I finished, she said, "You need to call off this wedding." "Simone." "I'm serious. He's showing you who he is. Believe him." "He's just stressed. Wedding planning is hard." "Wedding planning doesn't turn someone into a coward." I looked down at my coffee. "I love him." "I know you do," she said gently, "but does he love you enough to choose you over them?" I didn't have an answer. That night, I tried to talk to Colin again. He was in the bedroom, packing for a work trip to Boston. "Can we talk?" I asked from the doorway.
I have an early flight, he said, folding a shirt. This is important. He sighed. Okay, what? I need you to set boundaries with your family. He zipped his suitcase. They're my family. I'm not going to cut them off because you're insecure. The word hung in the air. Insecure? I repeated. Yeah, you take everything they say the wrong way. Or maybe they say things the wrong way. They're not going to change, okay? That's just how they are. You need to toughen up. I felt something inside me go cold. Toughen up? Yeah, stop being so sensitive. Get out, I said quietly. He turned. What? Get out. Go to Boston. Go wherever. Just leave. You're kicking me out of my own apartment? It's our apartment, and right now I don't want to look at you. He grabbed his suitcase. Fine, I'll stay at a hotel tonight. Good. He walked past me without another word. The door clicked shut. I stood there, chest tight, eyes burning, and pulled out my phone. I scrolled to a name I hadn't called in months. Jenna. We went to college together. She went into private investigation after graduation, mostly corporate stuff, fraud cases, background checks, but she also did personal work. I hit call. She answered on the third ring. This is a surprise. Hey, I said, voice shaking. I need your help. What's going on? I swallowed. I think my fiancé might be hiding something, and I need to know the truth. Jenna met me the next day in a diner in Midtown, December 21st, 4 days before Christmas. The place smelled like bacon grease and burnt coffee. She slid into the booth across from me, notepad already out. Tell me everything, she said. I did. The engagement party, the dinner, Colin's refusal to defend me, Colin's sudden defensiveness, the way he'd been traveling more for work lately. Boston, Philadelphia, D.C., always overnight trips, always vague about details. How long has the travel been going on? Jenna asked. 3 months, maybe 4? And the behavior change? Same timeline. She wrote something down. I'll need his full name, workplace, travel dates if you have them, credit card statements if you can access them. I can get those. Good, she looked up. What are you expecting to find? I wrapped my hands around my coffee mug. I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'm paranoid. Or maybe you're not, she said. Trust your gut. It's usually right. That night, I went through Colin's things. I felt sick doing it, like I was betraying him, but he'd been gone for 2 days and hadn't called once, just a few texts. Busy with meetings. Talk later. I found his credit card statements in his desk drawer. Charges at restaurants I'd never heard of, hotels in cities where he claimed to be staying with clients, a florist charge for $247 on December 3rd. I never got flowers on December 3rd. I photographed everything and sent it to Jenna. She called me back within an hour. I'm on it. Give me 3 days. Colin came home on December 22nd. He walked in around noon, dropped his bag by the door, and found me in the kitchen making tea. Hey, he said. Hey. He kissed my cheek. It felt mechanical. How have you been? Fine. You still mad? I looked at him. Are you still calling me insecure? He sighed. I shouldn't have said that. But you did. I was frustrated. So was I, Colin. Your mother disrespects me constantly, and you act like I'm the problem. He leaned against the counter. What do you want me to do? I want you to care that I'm being treated like garbage by your family. They don't treat you like garbage. Yes, they do, and you let them. He rubbed his eyes. Can we not do this right now? I just got back. I'm exhausted. You're always exhausted. Because I'm working, trying to build a future for us. He grabbed a water bottle from the fridge. I'm going to take a shower. And just like that, he walked away. I stood there, tea cooling in my hand, and realized something. He wasn't going to change. He was always going to choose them over me. On December 23rd, Jenna called. Can you meet me? She asked. I have something. We met at the same diner. She slid a manila folder across the table. What is this? I asked. Open it. Inside were printed receipts, hotel charges, restaurant bills, and photos. Photos of Colin, with a woman. She was brunette, petite, pretty in that effortless way some women are. They were sitting at a restaurant laughing. His hand was on hers. Another photo showed them walking into a hotel lobby together. I felt my stomach drop. "Who is she?" I whispered. "Her name is Isabel. She works at a design firm in Boston. They met at a conference in September." Jenna's voice was gentle. "I'm sorry." I stared at the photos. Colin's smile, the way he looked at her, the same way he used to look at me. "How long?" I asked. 3 months, maybe longer. 3 months. While he was calling me insecure, while he was defending his mother, while he was planning our wedding. "There's more," Jenna said quietly. I looked up. "He's been apartment hunting in Boston, sent an application to a building in Back Bay 2 weeks ago." The air left my lungs. "He's leaving," I said. "Looks like it." I closed the folder. My hands didn't shake. I didn't cry, I just felt cold, hollow. "Thank you," I said. "What are you going to do?" I looked at her. "I don't know yet." That night, Colin came home late. I was sitting on the couch in the dark, Christmas tree lights off, folder on the coffee table. "Why are you sitting in the dark?" he asked, flipping on the lamp. "We need to talk." He froze. "About what?" "Sit down." He sat. I slid the folder across to him. "Open it." "What is this?" "Open it, Colin." He did. I watched his face drain of color as he flipped through the pages. The receipts, the photos. "Where did you get this?" he asked, voice tight. "Does it matter? You had me followed? You're cheating on me." He closed the folder. "It's not what it looks like." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You're going to try that line?" Isabel and I were just friends. Friends who stay in hotel rooms together? We had separate rooms. "Colin, I have photos of you holding her hand. I have credit card receipts showing you bought her flowers. I know you applied for an apartment in Boston." My voice stayed calm, eerily calm. "So don't insult me by lying." He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I was going to tell you." "When? At the wedding?" "I didn't mean for it to happen." "But it did?" He ran his hands through his hair. "I don't know what to say." "How about the truth?" I said. "How long have you been planning to leave me?" "I wasn't planning anything. I met her and she gets me. She understands my world." "Your world?" "Yeah, she comes from a similar background. She went to boarding school. Her family has connections. She just fits." There it was, the truth underneath everything. "I don't fit?" I said. He looked at me. "I tried, I really did, but my family's right. We're too different." "So you've been discussing this with them?" "They have concerns." I stood up. "Get out. This is my apartment too. Then I'll leave." I grabbed my coat. "But you're not staying here tonight." "Where am I supposed to go?" "Back to Boston. Back to Isabel. Back to your family. I don't care. Just leave." He stood up. "Can we at least talk about this like adults?" "Adults don't cheat on their fiancés and then blame them for not fitting in." "I never blamed you." "You just did. You said, 'I don't fit.' That's blame, Colin. That's you making your affair my fault." His jaw tightened. "You're twisting my words." "No, I'm finally hearing them clearly." I walked to the door and opened it. "Get out. Now." He grabbed his coat and keys. "You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is saying yes when you proposed." He stared at me for a moment, then walked out. I closed the door, locked it, and finally let myself cry. The next morning, December 24th, Christmas Eve, I called Susan. She answered with that syrupy sweetness she always used. "Hello, dear. Merry Christmas Eve." "We need to talk," I said. "Oh, about what?" About the fact that your son has been cheating on me for 3 months and you knew about it. Silence, the kind that stretches and reveals everything. I don't know what you're talking about, she said carefully. Yes, you do. Colin said you had concerns about our compatibility. That means he's been discussing Isabel with you. I think you're upset and confused. I have photos, Susan, receipts. I know everything. Another pause. Then her voice changed, colder. What do you want? I want you to know that your little plan worked. You spent 2 years making me feel like I wasn't enough, and eventually Colin believed it too. Congratulations. Now wait just a minute. No, you wait. You humiliated me at my engagement party. You insulted me at every family dinner. You made it clear that I didn't belong. And when Colin started cheating, you encouraged it because Isabel fits your standards. How dare you? How dare I? You told me to lose weight. You called me financially inadequate. You treated me like I was some obstacle to your son's happiness. Because you were, she snapped. The mask finally dropped. Colin needs someone on his level, someone who can move in the right circles. You're a nice girl, but you were never going to be enough.
There it was. The truth she'd been coating in sugar for 2 years. Well, I said, voice steady, now you can have your son back. And Isabel. I hope she enjoys being inspected and criticized for the rest of her life. We're having Christmas dinner tomorrow, Susan said tightly. 5 o'clock. You're expected to be there. I laughed. You think I'm coming to your house for Christmas? You're still wearing Colin's ring. I looked down at my hand. The 2-carat diamond glinted in the morning light. Not for long, I said, and hung up. I took the ring off and set it on the counter. Then I called Simone. I need a favor, I said. Anything. Can I crash your family's Christmas? Already setting a place for you. Christmas Day, I woke up in Simone's guest room. Her family treated me like I'd always been part of their chaos. Her mom hugged me. Her dad made too much food. Her little sister asked if I wanted to watch Elf for the 3rd time that week. It was the best Christmas I'd had in years. Around 4 o'clock, my phone started buzzing. Colin, Susan, Richard, Graham, of all people. I ignored all of them. At 5:30, Susan called again. I answered. Where are you? She demanded. Not at your house. You're embarrassing us. Everyone's asking where you are. Then tell them the truth. Tell them your son's been cheating on me and I called off the wedding. You will do no such thing. I already did. I sent an email to the venue this morning, canceled everything. You can't just cancel a wedding. Watch me. Oh, wait, you can't. Everything was in your name because you insisted on controlling the planning. I heard her sharp intake of breath. You're making a mistake, she said coldly. Colin is a good man. Colin is a cheater, and you raised him to believe that people like me are disposable. If you walk away now, you'll regret it. Susan, I said, and I smiled even though she couldn't see it. I already have something better. Myself. I hung up. 2 days later, I changed the locks. Colin showed up on December 27th, pounding on the door. Open up, he yelled. I opened the door but kept the chain on. What? You canceled the wedding. Yes? Without discussing it with me. You cheated on me without discussing it with me. I think we're even. His face flushed red. You're being childish. I'm being smart. My mother is furious. Good. You humiliated my family. No, Colin, you did that. I just stopped pretending it didn't happen. He stared at me. I want my ring back. It's in the mail, should get to you in 3 to 5 business days. This isn't funny. It's not meant to be. He turned and walked away.
I closed the door, locked it, and finally felt like I could breathe. New Year's Eve I spent with Simone at a low-key party in Brooklyn. No champagne toasts at country clubs, no forced smiles, just good music, cheap wine, and people who actually liked me. At midnight, Simone raised her glass. To new beginnings. To leaving trash in the past, I added. We clinked glasses and laughed. I deleted Colin's number, blocked Susan, removed every photo of the Hartwells from my phone. Then I opened my camera and took a selfie. Just me, smiling. Free. 2 weeks later, Simone sent me a screenshot. It was from some society gossip blog. Hartwell family engagement called off. Sources say bride-to-be discovered affair. Below it was a photo of Colin and Isabel at some charity event. The comments were brutal. Cheater. She dodged a bullet. His mom probably set them up. I read through them, then closed the app. I didn't need revenge. The truth was enough.
By February, I was thriving. I got a promotion at work, started therapy, joined a boxing gym where I learned to punch things that actually deserved it. One Saturday afternoon, I ran into Graham at a coffee shop in Soho. He saw me first. Hey, I said coolly. Have you been? Better than ever, actually. He shifted his weight. Look, I know things got messy. For what it's worth, I think Colin's an idiot. You watched your family treat me like dirt for 2 years and said nothing. He had the decency to look uncomfortable. Yeah, I know. Then we have nothing to talk about. I grabbed my coffee and left. April brought warm weather and closure. I signed a lease on a new apartment, hardwood floors, big windows, a neighborhood where no one knew the Hartwell name. I was hanging curtains when Simone called. You need to see this, she said. What? Check your email. I opened my laptop. There was a forwarded message from someone named Lauren Mills. Subject, you deserve to know. The email read, Hi, you don't know me, but I'm Isabel's sister. I thought you should know that she called off their relationship 2 weeks ago. Apparently, his mother was already critiquing her career choices and suggesting she'd need to adjust her lifestyle. Isabel said it felt like she was auditioning for a role she didn't want. She told him to lose her number. I'm sorry for what my sister did, but I thought you'd want to know that karma caught up with him. Lauren. I read it twice. Then I laughed. Actually laughed until my sides hurt. Simone was still on the line. You okay? I'm perfect, I said. Absolutely perfect. 6 months after the breakup, I was happy. Actually, genuinely happy. I had a job I loved, friends who showed up, and a life I built on my own terms. No one was critiquing my weight. No one was measuring my worth by my paycheck. No one was making me feel small. I ran into Susan once more, in September, at a charity event my firm was running. She saw me across the room and froze. I walked right up to her. Susan, I said with a smile. Hello, she said stiffly. How's Colin? Her mouth tightened. He's fine. Good. I hope he finds someone who meets your standards. We don't need your well wishes. Wasn't offering them, I said pleasantly. Just wanted to say thank you. She blinked. For what? For showing me exactly who you were before I made the biggest mistake of my life. I walked away before she could respond. Behind me, I heard someone snicker. I didn't look back. I never saw any of them again. And honestly, that was the best gift they ever gave me.